My ex came back after the breakup, and I made the biggest mistake. In short, the girl I was planning to marry contacts me after 10 years, which makes me feel depressed. I can't take it anymore, and I'm telling her husband that she's behaving inappropriately. Background: height, 6 feet, 1 inch. Average build. I've been told that I look like Keith Urban and Ashton Kutcher, his image from the 70s TV series. I am 33 years old now. I grew up in a small town with a population of about 6,000 people, and then enrolled in a large public college known throughout the country. You could probably tell by my username. There were 30,000 students in college, a huge difference compared to my senior year, where there were only 77 people. I dated a few girls in high school and college, some for several years, but none of them seemed like the one to me, and the relationship never worked out until 2011. Everything changed. By this time, I was 21 at the time. I lived on my college campus with 2 neighbors, my cousin and an old friend from school. I started trying new dating apps at that time: Tinder, OKC, Bumble, or whatever else was popular back then. Anyway, I met a girl on OKC. She went to the same college as me. We met, and to be honest, I didn't see anything serious in it, rather an easy conversation, although nothing happened in the end. We spent time together several times, and one day, she came to my wine Wednesday with a glass of wine. Nothing much happened. I had a feeling that she wasn't particularly interested in me, and that's okay. Later, she invited me to her study session in the living room. By the way, we didn't even have any classes together. I agreed. I came, and that night changed my life forever. I, an art student who, judging by the SAT results, could have become an engineer, was sitting. It was a very personal moment. At that moment, I forgot about everyone in the room, except the 2 of us. I didn't even notice how the feeling of the presence of the girl she entered with and the one I met on OKC disappeared. The latter, by the way, coughed loudly at that moment and said she was tired, hinting that it was time for me to leave. I didn't think twice. I just got up and left. The next day, the OKC girl informed me that we shouldn't talk anymore. I thought maybe I just missed a fleeting opportunity to have fun. At that time, I was thinking like a typical student. Judging by her behavior, she seemed to think the same way. The only thing I really regretted was that I didn't find out LP's name that night. Oh well, I looked good. I studied at a big university. Sooner or later, I'll find someone else. Fast forward a month, November 2011. I get a friend request on Facebook. The avatar shows a cute blonde in a Donatello Ninja Turtle costume for Halloween. Damn attractive. I accept the request. I ask how we might know each other, and it turns out that she is the roommate of the OKC girls. That's how we start communicating. It was the Thanksgiving holiday, and we literally didn't stop texting all day long. Social media messages quickly turned into text messages, and then into Skype calls, which soon filled the entire Thanksgiving day. Of course, it was all just texts and calls, but when I went shopping on Black Friday with friends, LP and I talked all night. We called on Skype at 7 p.m. and talked until 4 a.m. We were just chatting. Well, maybe they dozed off a little sometimes. At first, it was the usual let's get to know each other better, but very quickly our conversations became warmer. We started sending hearts to each other with our hands. I was falling in love, and for the first time in my life, this feeling was something new to me, unlike anything I had experienced before on the couch. When suddenly the apartment door opened. 2 girls came in, both roommates of the one I met on OKC. I'll call one of them LP for this story. I've already met one of the girls by chance. It seems that then we were talking about her sympathy for the New England Patriots. She had a mug with this logo, which broke. I joked, "Oh, you probably watched the Bills game," and she just couldn't stand it. Actually, I don't have a favorite NFL team. I just like to jokingly tease fans of different clubs. Anyway, these two girls came in and settled down in the living room. We started talking about all sorts of small things. Nothing particularly deep. The conversation turned to music and the emo phase in high school. Gradually, LP21 and I seemed to drop out of the general conversation. It seemed as if only the two of us were left in the room. At one point, I mentioned that I was thinking of getting a haircut. At that point, I looked like Kelso from a 70s show. Then LP got up, crossed the room, ran her hand through my hair, lightly touched my face, and firmly said, "Never. Don't cut your hair. Ever." It just so happened that I was a devoted fan of our college football team and was looking forward to the big game on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. As it turned out, LP and her family, mom, dad, and brother, who studied at a rival university, also planned to go. We corresponded during the game. Our team defeated their rivals, and we agreed to meet in the stadium lobby. When we saw each other, we hugged for a long, long time. And then we kissed. And again. And more. We just couldn't stop. At one point, LP looked at me and asked, "Do you want to meet my parents?" To be honest, I was stunned. After a few minutes, they arrived. Her mother is a sweet, petite woman. Her father is a strong, good-natured man. I reached out my hand, but instead, LP's mom just hugged me. By the way, I was wearing makeup, a real fan's war paint, and then she notices, "LP, you seem to have a little paint on your face." Obviously, this was the legacy of our prolonged kissing session. The next day, we both returned to the university campus and met up again. Everything was developing rapidly, that's all I can say. I remember how we were lying at my house, and I suddenly said, "I never would have thought that I could fall in love so quickly." We continued to communicate non-stop, every day, and then, just a couple of days later, tragedy struck our camp. We have received numerous alerts, text messages, push notifications, and emails that there is an armed man on campus. LP and I immediately asked each other, "Are you okay? And where are you?" Even before the official message came that the danger was over. As soon as it happened, I spent the whole day with her. We went to a candlelit funeral together, in memory of the victim, and I even gave an interview to a TV channel. The only thing I wanted at that moment was to be by her side, to support her, to be her pillar. After that, I met her every day after class to take her to the next lecture until the very end of the semester. She once said that her ex avoided being in public with her or was always making excuses for why he couldn't spend time with her. I even booked a room for her in the academic building so she could study for exams in peace. And after the final tests, I stayed on campus for another day just to be with her. I told my parents about LP, and after the exams, I brought her home for a day. She met my family, my parents' grandparents, and said that she really liked my small town. After Christmas, I went to her house, in a city that was a couple of hours away, to the north. We exchanged gifts. I listened carefully to every little thing she mentioned and chose a gift related to it. We tried to spend every minute together. Suddenly we decided to go to Washington, D.C. It was my first trip there, and it made it really special. Back at her parents' house, we had a wonderful time. I've never been so in love before. We celebrated the new year with her family. Her dad cooked steaks for us after a little, "Come on in, let's talk for a minute" conversation with me. Later, LP fell asleep on my chest in the living room, and I hugged her hand. It was perfect. The night after New Year's Eve, we were kissing, but at some point I stopped. She looked at me with concern, and I told her not to worry. "I've never said or felt this before, but I love you. I've never felt that way about anyone. I'm sorry to bring this down on you." She kissed me, and you can imagine how hot and passionate the rest of the evening was. A couple of months later, I went to a jewelry store and picked out an engagement ring. After all, her parents got engaged after 6 months of dating, so why don't we do the same? As you might have guessed from the name, nothing good came of it. A few months after everything that happened, she broke up with me by text message. It drove me into a deep depression. I was completely broken up until my senior year of college started, but a week before the move and the start of classes, she texted me again. Something about how hard it was for her this summer and how she would like to see me. We've met. We spent several evenings together, and after a while, she confessed that she had told her parents about me, who allegedly forced her to break up with me again. And then, a couple of months later, she came back, and she wanted to see me again. We started doing the same things as before, but now, for some reason, secretly, it lasted for several weeks, even months. We were together, but we didn't officially have a relation. Definitely a wake-up call. During the nights we spent together, her phone was constantly vibrating with messages. One day, I noticed a photo of a guy in boxers on the screen. I asked her about it. She waved it away. It's just a colleague who doesn't take the hint. And then, graduation came, and she just disappeared from my life. It was painful. It hurts like hell. I saw her at the prom, but I didn't say anything. He just turned away and left. May 2014. A year has passed since graduation. I went to a concert in Virginia Beach, and her favorite band, Adelita's Way, was playing there. It was a big event, lunatic, luau, crowds of people, loud music. I was in my own world. And then I get EAs from her. She wrote that she had met the band's vocalist, Rick DeShizis. She said she was there with her mom, and when she saw the singer, she said he looks like an OP. We exchanged a few phrases, but then she just disappeared. A few years later, I stopped thinking about her a long time ago, when suddenly the message comes again. She complains about life, says that her diploma has led to nothing, her job is a nightmare, everything around is annoying. He hints that he wants something more than just sitting still. We talked for a while, but soon communication came to naught again. August 2018, life seemed to be getting better. I have a stable job as a cameraman. I moved to Roanoke. I work at a TV station. For years I just pretend that everything is fine. I don't think about the past. And then she writes again. We're starting to communicate. We call each other on FaceTime. We write to each other on Skype. I'm trying to control myself. I answer evenly, without emotion. I just say hi, how are you, and try my best not to say, I miss you, or I still love you. It turns out that she joined the Navy. I've been on several hikes. I don't know exactly how many. I was proud of her. She tells me about her life, and I understand that everything is far from smooth there. She dated married guys. Some of them treated her harshly. One incident particularly affected me. She was hit and knocked to the floor. It hurt me to hear that. We agreed that I would come to her. I packed my things. I was ready to leave. But suddenly, she just stopped responding. And that's when I started drinking. At first it was just 6 cans of beer in an evening. Then the wine, then something stronger, and then the wine again. I haven't stopped since. It helps me sleep. It so happened that in 2019, I was offered a job at the other end of the state, with a salary $10,000 a year higher, and with a more convenient schedule. At that time, we were no longer in touch, and work was not far from her. But I decided that this stage of my life was over, and no one would follow me anymore. Anyway, I accepted the offer. I moved to the coast, a few miles away from her. Since my job is related to public media, I didn't want to surprise anyone with my appearance, so I sent a message. I just wanted to let you know that I got a job in Vermont, where they pay me $10,000 a year more than before. So, if you suddenly see me in the city, know that I couldn't miss this chance. Shortly after that, I received a message. This is the LP guy. Don't write to her anymore. She doesn't want to talk to you. blah blah blah. Then there was a global crisis. I got used to a new place, built friendships for several years, and settled in. I like it here. I have found friends, and I finally feel happy and satisfied with where I am. Over time, I found out that LP was expecting a child, got married, and became a parent, in that order, and that was okay. I was finally able to let go of the past. I've become really independent. I forgot about the LP a long time ago. September 2022 has arrived. I'm already 32 and life was going great. I was doing a great job. I was an Emmy Award-winning photojournalist. The boss treated me with respect, and overall everything was great, right up until the second week of September. That evening, I was going to open a second bottle of wine. While still under the degree, I received a message from an unknown number. It was LP. She's 31 now. She apologized for that old message, claiming it was written by her ex who was toxic and controlling. Being tipsy, I replied to her, but the next day I wasn't even sure if the message had reached her. It bothered me, and I thought about it a lot, just during the long 3-hour drive to my parents' house. We've been texting all the way. She sent me messages that I didn't expect at all. When I finally got to my parents' house, LP wrote, "Come, we'll talk before dawn." But there was a 3-4 hour drive between us. In the end, we just talked on the phone for almost 4 hours. She complained that her husband was not the best father, hinted that I could be a great stepfather, said that he often thinks about me and that there is always a special place for you in my heart. I fell in love again. I didn't care that she had a child. It didn't matter that she was married. I just wanted her to be happy. In the following days, we continued to correspond. Interestingly, she began messages cautiously. "I understand. If you don't want to hear me, just say it." But after a while, her tone changed. One day, after a short pause in the correspondence, she called and said, "It's actually an honor for you to write to me." And then, when I didn't seem to have done anything special, I suddenly received a message, "Don't you dare try to ruin my marriage." At that moment, I realized that she just wanted to have fun, but at the same time, stay safe. After a few days of texting, I became invisible again. At work, people noticed that I had lost my passion for business and stopped taking the initiative. I felt like I was just waiting for her next message, waiting for her to tell me what to do next. She seemed like the one to me. Every evening, I returned home, tried to relax, and began my usual ritual of drinking. Thoughts raced through my head like a whirlwind, dragging me deeper into a state of apathy. I waited patiently for her to write again. But soon, this patience turned into, "Why am I unhappy?" This thought led to the following. "I was happy a week ago," and then to another one. "A week ago, I was happy because I thought she hated me, so I'm going to make her hate me again." I took screenshots of over 70 pages of correspondence between me and LP. I deleted her name from the contacts so that the number could be seen. In some messages, she called her husband a bad father, she wrote. "I think you'd be a great stepfather. He's a brute. I only married him because the circumstances turned out that way, and also, there's always been a place for you in my heart." I sent these screenshots to her husband, her father-in-law, and her parents, who have always disliked me. 10 minutes after sending it, she called me. I think it was about 2 a.m. She screamed, "How dare you? You're so selfish. Just because you didn't get what you wanted. And what are you doing? Did you send him these messages?" It was obvious that she was most afraid of being exposed. I think she had access to his Facebook, where I sent the evidence, and most likely she managed to delete them before he saw them, because if he had read them, he would definitely have reacted. She broke down at first, but after 10 minutes she completely calmed down. That's why I also sent these screenshots to her father-in-law, thinking, well, at least I got myself back a little bit. I wish her husband knew what was really going on. I felt better the next day. I received a missed call from an unknown number. I opened my voicemail and heard, "Hi, this is name." the father of LP's husband. I saw the screenshots and wanted to know if they were real. We'd been texting all day. He turned out to be a good man. I told him, I know that your son is in the military, and I've heard too many stories about what's going on behind his back. It's not fair to him. If my wife had done that, I would have wanted to know the truth. His answer amazed me. I know how it feels. His mother did the same thing, and it destroyed our family. Thank you for your honesty. I hope I can help him deal with this. By the way, did he see the messages? I replied that most likely LP managed to delete them so that he would not find out anything. I do not know what happened next. To be honest, that September evening, one message took away years of recovery and acceptance from me, but I was able to bring myself back.